The sky was dark. The wind howled like a beast. Snow fell from the sky like white fire, sharp and cold. A human ship crashed through the clouds, burning as it fell. It hit the icy ground with a loud explosion, shaking the frozen valley. Inside the broken ship, a man moved. His name was Corin, a human soldier. Blood dripped from his forehead. His suit was torn. The cold air bit his skin. He coughed and looked around. Smoke and fire. Metal twisted like paper. He was alive, but just barely. Corin grabbed his emergency pack and forced the broken door open. Snow hit his face like knives. The cold was worse than anything he had felt before. He stepped outside and looked around. Nothing but ice, snow, and sharp mountains. His communicator was dead. No signal. No help. No base. No warmth. I need to find shelter, he said to himself. He walked, step by step, through the deep snow. His boots sank with every step. His fingers felt numb. His breath turned to frost in the air. Suddenly, he heard something. A whisper. So soft, so weak, so cold that he stopped, looked around. Nothing. Again, a whisper. Please. Corin turned toward the sound. It came from behind a snow-covered rock. He walked slowly, carefully. His hand reached for his weapon, just in case, and then he saw her, a figure lying in the snow, small, blue skin. Long white hair frozen to her face. Her body trembled. She was an alien girl. Thin, barely covered in cloth. Her eyes were closed. Lips purple from the cold. Hey, are you alive? Corin shouted. Her eyes opened slowly. They were large and silver, glowing faintly. She looked at him like she had seen a ghost. Please. Help me, she whispered. Corin dropped to his knees beside her. Her body was ice cold. She looked like she had been out here for hours, maybe days. You'll freeze to death out here, he said. He opened his emergency blanket and wrapped it around her. She still shivered. She looked up at him, eyes filled with pain and fear. Will you share your warmth with me, human? She asked in a soft voice. Corin hesitated. He had never seen her species before. She looked fragile, scared, but not dangerous. He took a deep breath. Then he pulled her gently into his arms, wrapping the blanket around them both. Her body pressed against his. She was shivering so hard. It hurt to watch. She gasped when their skin touched, like his warmth was fire to her frozen skin. Why are you out here alone? He asked. She didn't answer. She only shook her head. Corin looked around. The wind was getting worse. A storm was coming. He lifted her in his arms. She was light, like a feather. We can't stay here. My ship is broken, but it's better than out in the open. She didn't speak. She just held onto him tightly, her face buried in his chest. Corin walked back to the wreckage, pushing through the storm. Every step was a battle. But he didn't stop. Inside the ship, the fire had died. The place was cold, but at least the wind stayed out. He laid her on a padded seat and used what was left of his power cells to start a small heat pod. Weak warmth filled the room. The alien girl looked around with wide, fearful eyes. Are you going to hurt me? She asked. No, Corin said. I'm going to help you. She stared at him for a long moment, then gave a tiny nod. He handed her some water and a heat gel packet. She sipped slowly. My name is Corin, he said. What's yours? She looked down. I don't remember, she whispered. Corin frowned. What do you mean? I ran for so long, I escaped. I was scared. I forgot who I am. Corin sat beside her. You're safe now. We'll figure it out together. For the first time she smiled, but it was small and sad. Outside, the storm screamed. Snow covered the wrecked ship. Cold ruled the planet, but inside, a tiny light of warmth was born, and in the heart of that frozen world, Two souls, one human. One alien had found each other. Asterisk, the fire had died again. Corin sat in silence, staring at the small alien girl who now slept beside the broken heat pod. Her breathing was shallow, her body still trembling. Even with all the heat packs, she couldn't stop shivering, but something wasn't right. Her skin had started to glow just a little. A soft blue light pulsed under her skin, like something alive was moving inside her veins. Corin leaned closer. He didn't want to wake her, but his soldier instincts were screaming. He had seen wounds, sickness, strange alien effects, but never this. Then, her eyes opened. She sat up fast, gasping for air like she had just escaped drowning. Corin reached out. Hey, it's okay. You're safe." "No," she whispered, gripping his arm. Her hand was hot now. "Too hot. I'm not safe. I'm not normal." Corin looked at her confused. Her blue skin was glowing brighter. Her breath steamed more than his now. "What's happening to you?" She looked away. Her voice was quiet, but heavy. "They did something to me. In the lab." Corin froze. "What lab?" "The one I escaped from." Outside, wind slammed against the wrecked ship. But inside, the air was growing warmer, and not from the heat pod. Elar, he had silently given her that name. Since she didn't remember her real one, held her arms tightly around herself. Her hands flickered with blue sparks. "I was taken," she said, her voice shaking. "My own people. They said I was special. They said I could help win the war. I didn't understand." Corin listened carefully. "They used machines, needles, lights. They made something inside me. Wake up. Now when I get scared or cold, it burns." Corin noticed the air was getting hotter fast. The ship's broken walls creaked. Even the snow near the door started melting. "You're burning up," he said. "You need to control it." "I can't," she said. Her eyes filled with tears. "I was never supposed to leave. They said if I escaped, I'd destroy everything." Around me, Corin stood and checked the emergency systems. Most of them were dead. The ship couldn't handle much more heat. But he couldn't leave her. He knelt beside her again. "Listen to me. You're not a weapon. You're not a lab project. You're a person." "No," she said, pulling her knees to her chest. "I'm something else now, something broken." He took her hand. "You feel warm. You're scared. You're alive. That means you're still real." She stared at him, and for a second, the glow in her skin faded. But then beep. A red light flashed on Corin's wrist device. A faint signal. A transmission trying to break through the storm. He looked at it. It was weak, but it meant someone might be searching. He could call them. He could get help. He could be saved. But what would they do if they found her? Would they take her back? Would they use her again? Would they end her? He looked at Elara. She was shaking again, but not from cold, from fear. "Corin," she said softly, "if they find me, promise me you won't let them take me." Corin looked at the signal again. Then he did something he didn't expect. He turned the device off. The red light died. "I'm not letting anyone take you," he said. She looked at him, stunned. Double quo. She asked. He smiled. "Because I've seen what cold looks like. And I've seen what warmth feels like." Alara blinked, her glowing skin softening. For the first time, she didn't look like a stranger. She looked human, or something close to it. But far above them, in the black sky, 3 blinking lights moved toward the frozen planet, fast and silent. Someone had already found her. The wind had stopped. It was too quiet. Corin stepped outside the wreckage just far enough to scan the sky. No more howling, no blowing snow, no sound at all, only silence so deep it felt unnatural. And then, he saw them. 3 black dots in the sky, moving fast. No flames, no sound. Like shadows that didn't belong to anything. Drones. Not human. Not friendly. Corin rushed back inside. Ilara was sitting up, rubbing her arms. Her skin was still glowing, but now dim and pulsing, like a warning light. "They're coming," she said before he could speak. "They found me." "How?" Corin asked. "There's no signal. I turned off everything." She touched her chest. "It's not the tech, it's me. I give off something. Energy. They track it like blood in water." Corin cursed under his breath. He opened a secret panel and pulled out an old human pulse rifle. "Half charged, but better than nothing. They want you back?" He asked. "They don't want me," she said. "They want what's inside me." "What?" They built. Outside, a deep hum began. Not loud, but low, like the sky itself was growling. Corin peeked through a crack in the wall. 3 hovering drones, shaped like dark spiders, glided over the snow. No wings, no sound, just pure menace. One scanned the area with a red laser. Another sniffed the air with strange, twitching feelers. "They're not machines," Corin whispered. "They're alive?" Ilara nodded. "Half living, half tech. They were made in the same labs I escaped from. And they never stop hunting." "Do they kill?" Corin asked. "No," she said. "They capture, then return you to the lab." "Even worse," Corin muttered. The first drone landed on the ship's roof. The metal groaned. Then a sharp leg punched through the ceiling with a loud crash. Ilara screamed. Corin fired. A blue shot burst from his rifle and blasted the leg off. Sparks flew. The drone screeched, an awful mix of metal and beast. The other drones responded. Instantly, one of them fired a red beam that sliced through the ship wall, barely missing Ilara. "Move!" Corin shouted, grabbing her hand. They ran deeper into the wreck, crawling through narrow halls, past twisted wires and broken lights. One of the drones broke in through a side panel and blocked their path. Its eye glowed red. It aimed its claw. Ilara froze. "I can't." Corin stepped in front of her. The drone's claw flew at him, but Ilara screamed. Her body exploded with blue fire. The drone froze mid-strike. A wave of energy threw it back, crashing into the wall. It didn't move again. Corin stared at her in shock. Her body floated a few inches off the ground, her eyes glowing white-blue. The ship lights flickered from her power. "Ilara!" She gasped and dropped to the floor. "I told you," she said. "They made me dangerous." Corin helped her up. "You're not dangerous. You're just scared." "Like me," the roof groaned. Again, more drones were landing. They didn't have much time. Corin grabbed his pack. "We're not staying. There's a cave system a few miles east. I saw it from the air before I crashed." Ilara nodded, still shaky. They stepped out into the snow again, and the moment they did, one of the drones above let out a high-pitched scream. It had seen them. The hunt had truly begun. Asterisk. Ilara was burning, and not just with heat. She was afraid. And Corin had made it into the ice caves, running from the drones under a sky full of death. Now they were deep inside the mountain, surrounded by walls of frozen crystal and silence. But the silence didn't calm her. It made it worse. Corin lit a small flare, its orange glow bouncing off the ice walls. He turned to her. "Are you okay?" She didn't answer. Her hands were shaking. Her skin was glowing again, brighter this time, too bright. The veins in her arms pulsed with blue light, like electricity moving under her skin. "Ilara," Corin said gently. "What's happening to you?" "I don't know," she cried. Her voice echoed through the cave. "Every time I get scared, it comes back. The power, it grows." She dropped to her knees, clutching her chest. Corin knelt beside her. "Just breathe." But it was already too late. The ground beneath her hands started to melt. Ice hissed. Steam rose around her body. The cave temperature shot up. Corin stepped back, blinking from the heat. "Ilara, you have to stop." "I can't," she shouted. "They built it into me." I'm not just a person, I'm a reactor, a living weapon. And then boom! A burst of energy shot out from her body. It slammed into the cave walls, cracking the ice. The ceiling shook. A chunk of rock crashed behind Corin, barely missing him. She screamed again, and then she floated. Her feet lifted off the ground. Her eyes glowed pure white now. Her hair floated like smoke. Her body shimmered with blue fire. Corin watched, stunned. "Alara, what are you?" She looked at him with eyes that weren't fully hers anymore. "I don't know," she said. "But I'm afraid of myself." Corin stepped closer. The heat made his skin sting. "I'm not afraid of you," he said. She stared at him. "Why not?" "Because even when your body burns," he said, "your heart still cries. That means you haven't lost yourself." Slowly, her body began to drop. The flames faded. Her eyes returned to normal. She fell into his arms, exhausted. "I can't go back," she whispered. "If they catch me, they'll turn me into a bomb." "Then we'll keep running," Corin said. "Until they give up." Alara shook her head weakly. "They never give up." Corin helped her sit down. He checked his tracker, no signal. But something else caught his eye. Footprints, not theirs. Someone or something was already inside. "The cave, Alara," he whispered. "We're not alone." She looked up, terrified, and just ahead, deep in the darkness of the cave, a soft red light blinked. A hunter had already found them. The red light blinked once, then disappeared. Corin held his breath. His finger tightened on the trigger of his rifle. Silence. No footsteps. No breathing. No sound at all. Behind him, Alara gripped his arm. "It's hiding," she whispered. "They do that. They wait. They learn your fear." Corin nodded slowly. "Then we don't give it anything to learn." They moved deeper into the cave, ice crunching beneath their boots. The walls sparkled, but it didn't feel beautiful. It felt like a frozen tomb. Every few steps, Corin turned back, rifle ready. Nothing followed them, but the red light. It was still somewhere behind, watching, waiting. Finally, they found a narrow chamber where the walls bent like a bowl. The ceiling above had small cracks, just wide enough to let in light from a strange moon outside. Pale blue light fell across Alara's face. Her skin no longer glowed. She looked tired, fragile. Corin set down his pack. "We rest here. Just for a little while." Alara didn't answer. She sat on the icy ground, hugging her knees. Her head rested on them like a child hiding from a storm. Corin sat beside her. "You saved me back there. Again." "I hurt the cave," she whispered. "Almost hurt you too." "I've been hurt before," he said. "But you still held on. That matters." She looked at him slowly. "You don't run from me. Everyone else did. I'm not everyone else." A long silence passed between them. Then, her voice came soft, so soft he almost didn't hear it. "Before the lab, before I was changed, I remember something. A warm place. A hand on mine. A name, I think. I had a family." Corin turned to her. "What happened to them?" "I don't know," she said. "When the scientists took me, they erased parts of me. Not just memories, feelings too." He frowned. "Feelings?" She nodded. "They said emotions were a weakness. So they burned them out." Corin was quiet. Then he slowly reached out and placed his hand gently on top of hers. "Do you feel this?" She looked down. Her hand trembled under his. "Yes," she whispered. "It's warm." "Then they didn't take everything," he said. For the first time she smiled, just a little. But it was real. Outside, the wind howled again, echoing through the cave's cracks. Corin leaned closer to her. "You're cold." She gave a tiny nod. "Would you like me to?" Before he could finish, she gently leaned against his side. Her head rested on his shoulder. "I would," she whispered. "I would like that very much." Corin didn't move. He just wrapped his arm around her and pulled her closer. They sat like that, wrapped in silence and the smallest hint of peace, while the ice around them stood still, and the red light blinked once more in the distance closer than before. But for now, she was safe, not just from the cold, from the loneliness too. And in that frozen cave, she felt a kind of warmth that went deeper than skin. Asterisk, the cave wasn't quiet anymore. It was breathing. Slow, deep, alive. Corin noticed it first. The air had changed. The walls gave off a low hum, barely heard, more like a feeling in the chest. Even the light coming from the cracks above had dimmed. Ilara sat with her back against the wall, eyes closed, resting in his jacket. But when Corin reached for his pack to check the tracker, it blinked, a green light. He froze. Signaled that someone had locked onto them. "Ilara," he said quickly, "wake up. We're not alone anymore." She opened her eyes slowly. The hunters? Corin stared at the blinking green dot. No, not drones. Something else. "This is human tech." Suddenly, his communicator buzzed to life for the first time since the crash. "Sergeant Corin, this is Command Unit Echo 7. We received your emergency ping. Rescue ship inbound. Estimated arrival 23 minutes. Do you read?" Corin's breath caught. Rescue. Real human voices. A way out. But then he looked at Elara. She was already backing away. "No," she whispered. "Please, you called them?" "I didn't," Corin said. "It was automatic. The tracker must have kicked back." Her hands lit up faintly with that blue glow. "They'll scan the area. They'll detect me." "I'll hide you," he said. "I won't let them." "You don't understand," she said, standing up fast. "If they find me, they won't help. They'll study me. Lock me up. Maybe even finish what the others started." Corin swallowed hard. She was right. If the human rescue team found her glowing, altered body, they'd ask questions. Too many. "I'll tell them I'm alone," he said. "You'll hide in the cave. They'll search. They always do." Corin turned off the communicator, but it was too late. The ship was already coming. He paced. His mind raced. 23 minutes. A voice echoed from behind. "You can still leave, Corin," Ilara said. Her voice was calm but broken. "This is your only chance. Go back. Be safe. Be a hero." "I'm not a hero," he said. "No," she said, stepping into the shadows. "But you are human, and humans, they always choose survival." He stared at her. Then slowly walked over. He held out his hand. "I choose you," he said. "Not because I'm a hero, but because I'm human." She looked at his hand, shaking her head. "You'll lose everything." "Maybe," he said. "But I won't lose myself." Her eyes filled with tears, not glowing ones, just real ones. And then she took his hand. Just as the sound of engines began to echo through the sky above the mountain. The rescue ship was almost here, and Corin had already made his choice, even if it broke everything. The sky above the ice mountain glowed with bright lights. The rescue ship's engines droned like a giant breathing beast. Corin and Ilara crouched behind a jagged rock ledge, watching the landing zone below. Corin's heart pounded. This was it, the moment that would decide everything. If the human soldiers came down here, they would see Ilara's glowing skin and her hidden power. They would not understand. They would take her back to a lab. "Ilara," Corin said softly. "Stay close. I'll try to talk to them." She nodded, her silver eyes wide but resolute. Her hands trembled, but the blue light pulsing under her skin was calm now, under her control. The ramp of the rescue ship clanged down. 4 soldiers in heavy suits ran toward them, weapons raised. At their side hovered a small drone, one of the half-tech hunters, silent as a ghost. Sergeant Marr looked up and saw Corin. Relief flashed on her face. "Corin, thank the stars you're alive." She ran forward, then stopped short when she saw Alara, her breath caught. The drone snapped its sensors toward the girl, its red eye focusing. "Hold!" Corin shouted, stepping in front of Alara. "She's with me." The soldiers hesitated. Mar glanced at her scanner. Radiation spike, energy readings off the charts. Alara's skin glowed brighter. She shrank back, afraid. Corin put a hand on her shoulder. "She's not dangerous." "She saved my life." One soldier aimed his rifle. Corin fixed him with a steady stare. "Don't shoot. I trust her." A tense moment passed. The drone made a soft click and attack. "Protocol." Corin drew his pulse rifle and pointed it at the machine. "Stand down," he growled. The soldiers froze. The drone hovered, buzzing low. Then, slowly it backed away from Alara, its red eye dimming. Mar lowered her weapon. She looked at Corin, unsure. "You're sure?" Corin nodded. "She's human inside. They used her power to make their weapons. But she is not a weapon." Alara stepped forward, voice small but clear. "Please, let me go. I don't want to hurt anyone." Mar glanced at her team. Then back at Alara. The wind whipped around them, ice crystals dancing in the air. Finally, Mar lowered her scanner. "All right. But we need to get you both back for debriefing." Corin shook his head. "No labs, no tests. If you try to lock her up, I will stop you." A long silence. Then Mar exhaled. "We'll honor your request. But you must come with us, soldier." Corin held Alara's hand. She squeezed his fingers, trusting him. They climbed the ramp together. Inside, the heat flared back to life. Soldiers guided them to a medical bay, small but safe. Alara sat on a biobed, tears in her silver eyes. Corin knelt beside her. "Thank you," she whispered. "You kept your promise." He took her hand. "Always." Outside the bay, the drone hovered at the door, just watching. Corin didn't lower his guard, but he relaxed slightly. Alara was safe. Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed. Soldiers shouted orders. Corin leaped up. "What is it?" He snapped. A young technician ran in. "The drone, its power core is unstable. It's reacting to Alara's energy. It might overload." Alara's eyes widened. "That drone. It's one of the ones they sent to hunt me." Corin grabbed the toolkit. "We need to shut it down." Mar barked orders. Corin and Alara worked side by side. She guided his hands as he rewired the drone's control circuits, her blue glow giving him light. Her trembling slowed as she focused on helping him. Finally, with a spark and a hiss, the drone's red eye went dark. The alarms stopped. Silence filled the bay. Corin sat back, panting. Alara collapsed into his arms, exhausted. Mar entered, softening. "That was brave." Corin looked at Alara, then at Mar. "She's not just brave, she's a hero." Alara managed a small smile. "I'm just me." Corin placed a gentle kiss on her brow. "You're more than that." Later, on the ship's deck, the frost world lay beneath them like a fragile jewel. Alara, wrapped in Corin's jacket, looked out at the stars. "Where will you take me now?" she asked. He smiled, pulling her close. "Anywhere you want. Somewhere warm, somewhere free." She rested her head on his chest. "Thank you for sharing your warmth with me." He pressed his lips to her hair. "I answered with my heart." And as the rescue ship lifted away from the ice planet, two souls, one human, one alien, began a new journey together, bound by warmth, trust, and the promise of tomorrow.